Alright, and we are back. Um, don't look at my levels of experience, because this is a continuation of our run through the first swamp dungeon that I created on the server. So you'll see above us here the string, which is the tripwire hook setup that activated when we entered in. It was a bit not mean, but well, essentially if you were to bounce on this slime platform here high enough when you initially fall down, you'd have the possibility of hitting the string again. This summons twice the standard amount of enemies then for you to fight, and it's actually kind of unfair, but I liked it so much. Oh no, solid person, rage quit, I suppose. So anyway, let's go back through path A. Much better. Not 100 mobs here. What had happened initially, oh, maybe it's too easy now, I don't know. It seemed that there was a bunch of mobs already here when we entered already. I guess, I mean, some had spawned due to the low light, but I don't know why. And okay, that's what it was as well. Yes, there was double the anticipated number as there should have been. Essentially, so you'll see a bunch of my item is definitely inventory is definitely full. Also, you'll see some interesting bones here. So, not that I died, but if you die on the server, then you actually will receive bones of your dead body, which is kind of weird, but whatever. It's also kind of interesting because you can get skulls of other players if you are so inclined. But you also see some apples and all the bones I just picked up again. Essentially, these dispensers in the ceiling here, to get back to what the actual purpose of this whole video series was, the swamp doesn't have the, oh no, sad face. This is a bit of a glitch here with the chat text boxes that are tied to armor stands that should be going away, but cannot. These, at the moment, it should be fixed soon. These dispensers will dispense a random item, because there are a couple inside each of them that all start with the letter A. So that's why we got apples and a couple of golden apples then as well. I'll talk about that later. So, but they can also, of course, spawn mobs, such as the stray, and then there's a bunch of slimes the first time that we went through here. I believe I already have this chest, so that's why I cannot open it. Yeah, I've already looted this treasure. So, essentially in this one there was a bunch of arrows. Again, with the whole Path A thing, of course. But it was great because and it's like really strong arrows with harming effects and things on them. Oh, cool. So along this path you would get the arrows, but then along path B you would actually get the bow. It's just kind of funny. Okay, yeah, because bow starts with B. We're learning learning the alphabet with Nick. And, oh, there's a slime in the ceiling. Interesting. And there's a hole in the ceiling. And just slime coming after me. So essentially, I'll fix that in a sec. But, there would be a different bunch of mobs then in Path B, including then bricks and books, because they both start with B. And there's some bats, and also blazes, which we did not get any this time. But that's just due to the nature of these dispensers, because there's a couple different items, and they will each only activate once. Then you never really know what you're gonna get. This chest here, I think I've already also gotten it here, so it's not gonna show up as anything. This was gonna be a very powerful bow then that had I don't think it had infinity on it, but it did have power, knockback 2, and it's a splat charger. Then that's very, very helpful info for playing Splatoon, which we are not, so not really useful. Anyway, let's finish back out of Path B here. So by this point, of course, you can already come into the dungeon having a bow and arrows, but the point of Paths A and B were to make sure that you are armed with a bow. That's why I highly recommend going through those. So now, kind of deviating from alphabetical order a little bit, A, B to I, and you'll notice that it's E, Y, E. As we enter this one, mobs will spawn and items as soon as we pass through the door. You'll also see that this one has no button or pressure plate, so this is a one-way door. We are not getting back out of here. And there's a witch as well. So it's a moderate challenge. Again, due to the random nature, as you saw. Oh, jeez, dude. Okay. Sometimes magma creams can spawn, whilst other times it's just normal slimes here. So eventually we'll get them all killed. Kind of my, and we also have a, it's hard to tell if this is texture pack, but an Eye of Ender there. We got a bunch of junk. That's a player head, some fermented spider eye. So essentially there's a bunch of eye items in Path I here. Oh, and as you'll see, hopefully, you'll see these notification banners. This is the boss. It's not a standard boss, and it's of course a bit up to artist's interpretation here, but this is a pause for my game for some reason. This is Vitreous, I'll say. Oh, and that's just was hit there. To defeat this boss, it's not that difficult, but you have to hit all of these wooden buttons. You'll then hear some fireworks going off, jump across the lava, and into the final prize room here. There's not that much, but here's the congratulations here. The best to do is spawn to get out of here. Seems like all the pieces are starting to fall into place. Interesting sign there. Maybe we'll figure out what that means next time. Of course, I got this treasure as well, and I suppose this is good because I don't want anyone necessarily who is watching this videos then to know exactly what the treasures are. I can assure you it's quite substantial. Some gold, diamonds, maybe even well, I'll keep it a secret. The door will close behind us eventually, but that is everything that there is to do in this dungeon. So we'll do as it suggests. Don't read too much into secrets there in the chat log. And awesome. Anyway, so we're back here, just as a point of reference then. This is, of course, the main square, if you recall from the first episode. I know it's a bit overwhelming because there is just a ton of things going on. If you look closely, and I wish I had Optifine, maybe I'll get that installed in a bit. There is my player model up there. So it's still a bit of a work in progress, but this is this building here going from the main square area is the Dungeon Masters Guild. You'll get a free dungeon ticket. You'll notice that glowstone effect when a redstone current is applied. My inventory is completely full. There's a lot to explain. I'll try to cover everything. This is a travel ticket to the ruins. You'll probably recognize there, as I guess we can check that out here in a second. You'll also notice I have a slime head now, which is really cool. I love the slime head. But as it's to be pretty clear, I guess, you can get mob heads from defeating mobs. Some have higher chances to spawn than others. Of course, there's still the standard ones for skeleton, creeper, and things. I think the only way to get those still is with like the charged creeper, some kind of crazy explosion, something, but that's in the vanilla game. But now you can get essentially every mob head possible. So I'm not sure if that affects the other ones, like the standard zombie in them. Anyway, here's some interesting notes about the dungeons. As you can see here, make sure that when you do get these treasure chests, you'll note that those are the ones that don't actually open. You gotta grab everything really quickly, or it will disappear. Melon and his faces has some information then as well about the dungeons, which I believe they're a really big draw of the server from some of the other players I've talked with, and just compared to some of the other servers that also use plugins and things. Luckily, we have travel tickets then to all of them, so this was actually one to the swamp dungeon where I was just at, in case you don't have one of these fancy flying brooms. Oh, and I'm gonna die. Okay, don't use indoors. Anyway, yes, so you can buy these travel tickets. I'll show you what they do in a second. Here's some of the other dungeons then. Now, not all of them. This one, though, we'll see what's going on there later in episode like 4 or 5 or something. But yeah, so we're just going to right click on this travel ticket and it will warp us immediately, if these seem familiar here, to the ruins dungeon / ruins of Athens. And and treasure's near. So before I get killed by 100 mobs, because of course it's raining then as well. Oh no, don't ask me to do parkour. Okay, yeah, this is bad, let's get out of here. Of course, it's definitely easier for me to do that, I suppose, with my Gelfling powers. Mrs. actually, Dragon, is also a Gelfling. So that's the best race. I don't know what Rose is. I guess she's already disconnected. We'll kind of just give a fly over here as we close out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it's still a bit scatterbrained. There's a lot to cover. This server has a lot of interesting features about it. Some that enhance the player experience, I suppose, and then others that are just really unique. Here's another dungeon over here, maybe. This is a very long path. We'll do a quick fly through the tunnel here. This path goes out about, what is it, like 5,000 or 6,000 blocks. Melon like auto-generated it or something. Then when the server was first created, and a lot of people will follow this out in seek of fame, fortune, or I don't know. Looks like there's just a couple of dungeons then along this pathway, and a bit of a lag there as well. I think this is yes, this is like a third way to get to the swamp dungeon. Actually, this is a really good way to end it, as we kind of come back full circle here. So sorry I had to split this video into 2 parts. I was a little bit unprepared, possibly, going into this dungeon. I actually haven't gone through them myself as a player in a little while, which is also a purpose of this series. See, the door is closed again, waiting for the next brave soul to approach. And as Dragon is going, I believe that will be the end of this video as well. If I spin my character around here, This is Nick Slime signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.